everybody, it's Chef Nicole. I'm here with the Kitchener Market and I'm going to be showing you guys how to take the dough that you picked up at the Kitchener Market and turn it into pretzels. So I have my dough out on my cutting board and I'm going to be cutting it into 1-inch pieces, and then I'll be rolling it out into long ropes and twisting it into the shape of a pretzel. So if you're doing this along with me, what you're gonna do is take a sharp knife or a bench scraper. Kids, if you need an adult helper for this, make sure that you get one. You know what utensils and tools you're allowed to use in the kitchen, so if you need help, make sure that you have someone with you while you're doing this, okay? I have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. That's what we're gonna be baking it at. And as well, you're also gonna need a pot with 4.5 cups of water and a 1/4 cup of baking soda. So hopefully you have those ingredients on hand. If you don't have baking soda, it is an optional step, but it will help give that chewy texture that we're used to with our pretzels. So let's get started. So I'm just gonna do one piece at a time. I'm gonna set the other one off to the side. If it takes you a little bit of time to work with these, then you might wanna cover the rest of your dough with a towel just so it doesn't dry out, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start rolling it out. I'm gonna start in the middle, and I'm gonna press with my hands out to the sides, and I'm going to just slowly work this out. I'm applying pressure as I'm rolling it out to the sides, not too much that it rips, but enough that it stretches out. If your dough is pulling back towards itself, don't worry. That's actually just the gluten that has developed in the flour. That's okay, just be patient and just slowly continue to work that out until you get a nice long rope. You're looking for probably about like 20 centimeters or so, a nice long. I'm gonna go a little bit longer than my cutting board here before I start to twist it up into the pretzel, okay? You might have to help stretch it out a little bit once you make your shape. You'll see how it goes for me when we get there. I'm just about ready to twist it. And so the next step, once I get it nice and long, and you can see it's actually hanging over the edges of my cutting board here. Once it's about this long, I'm going to make it into a U, okay? And then so you can see that it's starting to roll back into itself. That's the gluten. That's just trying to hold it together. So I'm just gonna convince it to get a little bit wider. Then I'm gonna pull it in like I'm making a heart. I'm gonna twist it over and one more time. And then I'm gonna stick it down at the bottom. I'm gonna give a nice good press so it stays stuck there. And what I'm gonna do is it doesn't quite have that nice pretzel shape that I'm looking for. So I'm just gonna give it a little bit of a stretch out so that it gets that nice pretzel shape. And what I have here is actually a parchment sheet of paper, parchment paper lined baking sheet. You can see I already have a couple here. Me and the kids have been rolling out a few ahead of time. And I'm gonna get this next one onto my baking sheet. I'm gonna do one more to show you guys how to do each of those steps again. And then I'm gonna show you guys that step of the boiling water and baking soda. If you are skipping over that step at home, don't worry. It's only gonna take about 30 seconds per pretzel to do that. So you won't have to wait long before we get on to the next step, okay? So I'm gonna just go ahead and show you one more time how to roll out our pretzel into that nice long rope. So while I'm just working out this, like again, just nice pressure rolling and pulling out to the sides as I go, I just want to make sure that I just give a big, huge shout out and thank you to Bolero, who has supplied all of the dough that you guys are using today for the pretzels. So thank you so much, Bolero, for helping us to have this fun activity today. I hope while you were visiting the market, picking up your pretzel kit, that you had a chance to see some of the other vendors and to just maybe pick up some other Thanksgiving items while you're there as well. I'm just gonna finish rolling this out a little bit longer and try and get it as uniform as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just try and keep it so that it's a relatively even thickness all the way down your rope. And then again, I'm going to kind of just make my little heart shape. I'm going to twist it. And then I'm going to push it down in the bottom. And like you saw earlier, even if it doesn't hold its shape perfectly, that's why it's important to give a good push down at the bottom to make sure that sticks. And then you can kind of pull it out into the shape that we're looking for. Looks pretty good as a pretzel shape to me. What do you think? I hope that things are going as well at your house as they are here in my kitchen. And I'm going to pop this onto my baking sheet. I'm going to move my cutting board out of the way, and I'm going to show you guys the next step, okay? My water is almost up to a boil, so right now I'm just going to measure out a 1/4 cup of baking soda, and I'm going to stir that into the water. It is going to kind of bubble up a little bit, so don't be worried. Just be very careful as you're adding it in, and just pour it off to the side. Okay? Just safety first. So very carefully. You only want to leave your pretzels in for like 20 seconds. For sure, not longer than 30, or they're going to kind of taste metallic-y. So it's really important that you just are very careful about how long you leave them in there. So feel free, as I said before, to leave out this step if you don't want to have to do that. But I just think that it gives a great chewy texture, and so we're going to do that here, all right? So I'm just going to go ahead and pick this up, and I'm literally going to just like, I'm going to do this safely. I'm going to put it onto my slotted spoon. I'm going to drop it in the water. And you're going to see it start to puff up, like pretty much right away. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this in here, like I said, for about 30 seconds. And you can flip it over if you want to. I'm not going to. I kind of did that earlier with a few. I flipped it over and then some I didn't. It didn't seem to make any difference at all. So I'm not going to worry about flipping them over here. I'm just going to let this hang out for just another 2 or 3 seconds. And out they come. You can see when I lay it down on the tray next to the other ones, you're going to see how puffy it's puffed up compared to the other ones. Not a ton, but definitely puffier than what it was previously. I'm going to go ahead and work through the rest of these guys, dropping them in the water for 20 seconds, and then I'm going to show you guys the next step. The next step before I get these pretzels into the oven is I want to put an egg wash on it. It's going to help it turn golden brown. It's also going to allow our salt to stick. If by chance you don't have an egg in the house, you can just use a little bit of milk or cream and just brush it on the outside. You just want something there to help the salt to stick, okay? For our egg wash, what that is, it's going to be 1 egg and about a tablespoon of water. That's what our egg ratio is for our wash. So I'm just going to take a fork. I'm going to give this a little mix before I go ahead and add in the water, just to make it a little easier so it doesn't go everywhere. And I'm just going to add in a tablespoon of water. Okay, just a little splash. I didn't measure, I just gave it a little splash. You know, I have my silicone pastry brush here, and I'm just going to take my egg wash and I'm going to brush the outside, all the edges of the pretzels. Okay, by this point your oven should be nice and preheated to the 400 degrees, and it'll be ready for you to get in on the middle rack of your oven. And it's going to bake for about 12 to 15 minutes, depending on how thinly you rolled them. That's going to tell you how long they're going to need to bake. You just want to bake them until they're golden brown, and then we're going to take them out, and they are going to be just delicious. I made a batch earlier today, but there is none left to be found in the house. This is round 2, guys. So I hope you guys are having fun joining us with this fun little pretzel activity. We usually have this happening at the Kitchener Market in the marketplace, but right now we're doing everything virtual. So I hope that you guys are having as much fun as we are with being able to make pretzels along with us here at home. So I'm sure that your pretzels look absolutely fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and pop these into the oven, and I'm going to show you guys what they look like in about 12 minutes. See you back here then. All right, everybody, our pretzels are out of the oven. Ours took about 15 minutes to cook based on the size that they are. They look delicious. They smell fantastic. If you guys are making this at home, I hope that you guys are excited to taste these as my kids are. I've already had them hovering around the kitchen just waiting for them to come out of the oven. So I'm going to say bye for now so that my kids can dig into the pretzels. I hope that you guys have so much fun making these pretzels at home. Post a picture if you want to, and feel free to tag the City of Kitchener, hashtag the Kitchener Market, or myself at Meals Without Madness on Instagram and Facebook. We'll look forward to seeing you guys online or at the Kitchener Market really soon. Have a fantastic Saturday.